Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I am your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and welcome to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV Presents Beyond the Realm. Okay, this is a channel where I talk about paranormal things. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about a young lady who decided to try using voodoo and tried summoning the deity known as Papa Legba. Now, with that all being said, the image you see in the thumbnail, that's not Papa Legba. That's actually a depiction of him that was used in American Horror Story. Okay, if you watch that show, that's the depiction that they use of Papa Legba. That's not really actually Papa Legba. Now, with that all being said, hello, Suda Africana, El Nicole, Melanated Brown, Sylvia, Twinkly 1974, Queen Trina B, Howard, Kendla, the Young King. Thank you all for tuning in. Also, please, everyone, subscribe to the channels if you have not done so already. Thanks to those of you tuned in on my other networks. I'm live on 3 platforms as we speak, okay? Make sure you like and share the video. Give it a thumbs up. And also subscribe to the channels if you have not done so already. Cherokee Descendant King says, I'm Black Queen and Royal Family. Yes, thank you. Spirit Wonder says she summoned the wrong spirit, didn't she? Absolutely, that seems to be the case. So let's talk about it. Because this young woman named Kat Restin, okay, she's truly resting as we speak, much to our dismay. Okay, she bragged on Facebook in a group that she was going to summon the deity known as Papa Legba. Now, she was a Wiccan, okay? She engaged in witchcraft. She had been doing that. No one knows how long. Melanated Brown says ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Becky messed with the spirit of our ancestor and it backfired, says Sylvia. Mary Evans says bar is queen. You all are so crazy. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so now, as I said, she bragged on Facebook that she was going to, in fact, try to summon the deity known as Papa Legba. She posted on her Facebook. She says, I seen Papa Legba today and I'm scared. This is what she posted after she supposedly summoned his deity and saw him. Now, people were trying to warn her and tell her not to do that. They said she had no business engaging in things of which she knew nothing of. Okay. Thank you, David, for tuning in, and thank you for your kind words. Now, people tried to warn her. Several of her friends told her, in fact, and people in the Facebook group told her, you should not be trying to mess with voodoo. You're supposed to be into Wiccan, and you need to stick with that. Some people told her you shouldn't dabble in things that you know nothing about, and all of these things. They tried to warn her, but she didn't listen. Instead, she went in on them, and she said, I just want to take a moment. Oh, I'm sorry. That's something else. Hold on. She says, let people live and have their own religion. This is what she told the people. She said, if someone is into something different, accept that. Stop saying, no, you come from God. I'm a Wiccan, and I always will be. So shut up, shut the F up, and let me be. That's what she told people who were her naysayers. And I love you right, Black Howard. So now, this is what someone by the name of Terrell posted. He said, I just want to take a moment to say, R.I.P. Kat. I just did a reading on her, and I asked Papa Legba, was that him? And he said, nah, it was Baron, shaking my head. Y'all have to be careful what y'all tap into. Oh, this is true. Now, the person who did the reading on her, who was a friend of hers, said that that wasn't Papa Legba that she, in fact, summoned, okay? They said that the Papa Legba told them that it was Baron Samedi. Okay, for those of you who know, that's another voodoo deity. Now, with that all being said, I don't know if that was Baron or if that was Papa Legba or someone or something else, shall I say. Because here's the thing, what you shouldn't do, okay? First of all, you should summon your own ancestors. If you're going to summon deities and all that, you should summon your own ancestors, not another race or ethnicity's ancestors. That's what you shouldn't do, and especially knowing the nefarious history of their ancestors towards ours. And here's the thing. They say that she supposedly wanted to summon Papa Legba to do some type of voodoo curse on her black girlfriend. And she posted pictures of a voodoo doll. I think she set it on fire or something. I'll show the pictures in a few. But here's the thing. First of all, this is what people need to get out your heads. Okay? See, that stuff about her making a voodoo doll and all of that stuff, that's not even real. That's not even real. And voodoo, anyone who practices voodoo, you know that you don't use voodoo dolls. Okay? That's what they don't do. Now, the thing about the voodoo dolls and zombies and all that crap, that came from Western society. Western people started doing that. They started depicting it in movies and everything, right? And talking about voodoo dolls. That's not what actual Haitians who engage in voodoo, any other black people who engage in voodoo, that's not what they use, okay? Or, well, you know, maybe some of them do, but I'm just saying, in all reality, when you're doing voodoo, that was never a thing for them to use voodoo dolls. That's a mess that people started. Like I said, when Westerners started depicting those things in movies in Hollywood, okay? Anyone who really knows about the history of voodoo or voodoo, you know you don't do that. All right? King Daniel says, right. Thank you. Okay? Twinkly 1974 is laughing, talking about voodoo dolls. She Wiccan people have to be careful with deities come many forms out of darkness and come take your soul. She lived between both realms. This is the thing. Absolutely. Here's the thing. If you're engaging in Wiccan and you're supposed to be a witch, Wiccan is not the same as voodoo, and you should not be engaging in that, because two things like that don't go together. And this is how things can happen. And also another thing, Queen Trina B says, facts, Queen. Thank you, beloved. And here's another thing too. Davida says, either she ended up in a country fried homicide playing with our people, summing up Quaker Oats. Not country fried homicide. I used to love that show. But let me continue, because you all have me digressing. Now, here's the thing, though. Actually, she should not have been engaging in something she didn't know anything about. And clearly she didn't know anything about voodoo, because she was using a voodoo doll. That's what she should have been doing. And no less, she was trying to use something that came from black people, Haitians. She was trying to use that to do something nefarious to a black person. Okay? And here's the thing also, people, you have to be careful when you're summoning entities and deities, because you don't know. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know who or what you're summoning. You could be summoning a malicious demon, a malevolent spirit. Okay? This is what you could be doing. And let's not forget that these demons can disguise themselves as even angels of light. So clearly a demon could act as though it were a voodoo deity and cause something to happen. Okay? So let me go on. Now, Caitlyn Ann Restin, known as Kat, was a 19-year-old girl from Virginia, or woman from Virginia Beach, and she passed away unexpectedly on April the 19th of 2020 at her mother's home. Okay? Now, Caitlyn was born November the 29th. She was raised in Virginia Beach and attended Plaza Middle and Green Run High Schools. She was a proud new mother and adored her baby. She was always the bright spirit of any gathering, and her resilience to keep going in challenging times inspired many of her family and friends. Caitlyn will always be so deeply loved and missed by all. That is a quote from her obituary. Okay, that's what her family put on her obituary. Now, according to the obituary, Restin and her 5-month-old daughter, Aaliyah, lived in Virginia Beach. Restin died suddenly at her mother's house. Now, they had to put up a GoFundMe page, to help care for her child after her demise. So, anyway, I'm going to show you these pictures. Now, an initial Twitter search for Kat Restin returned active results alongside frequent mentions of her name and rumors of her death linked to occult practices. Okay? And there's a tweet that she posted where she said, let people live and have their own religion. If someone is into something different, accept it. Stop saying, no, you come from God. I'm Wiccan and always will be, so shut the F up and let me be. And I'm going to show you this, because this is where she has the pictures of the voodoo dolls. Okay? Let me see if I can make this larger. She has these pictures of these voodoo dolls on here. And so clearly she didn't know what she was doing, because you don't even use voodoo dolls. That's the thing. Okay? And as I told you before, It is not voodoo that is evil or wicked. It is the people that use it. Because if you're using it for something wicked, that's what you will get. These things can happen. Now here you can see, let me zoom in a bit. And you can clearly see she has fashioned together a voodoo doll, and then she burned it, as you can see in the last picture at the bottom. She burned it. Now, as I told you, she was supposedly trying to cast a voodoo spell on her ex-girlfriend or girlfriend whom she was mad at for whatever reason. So in late April and early May of 2020, rumors about Kat Restin surfaced, saying that she died of an anxiety attack after a misguided attempt to summon Papa Legba. Now, this circulated additional rumors and also claimed that Restin endeavored to hex her Black girlfriend. She died April 19th. And I want you to know something that's very significant about the date that she died. I swear these males, hold on, let me read the chats. I swear these males love to dibble and dabble in things they know nothing about. This is what Sylvia says. Bungani says, I have heard of Yoruba. Gotcha. Depends on which type. Absolutely. You cannot go around trying to curse people without repercussions. Yes, because the universe gives you just what you put out, right? Hex a Black girlfriend, but had a new baby. Yes, that's what I was thinking, my Aunt Memphis. Exactly what I was thinking. So who's the baby's dad is what I wanted to know, right? Kendall said scared to death. Absolutely could have been. Absolutely could have been. But like I said, she did post herself on her social media that she summoned and saw Papa Legba before she died, 2 days prior to her death. And this was on the 17th, okay? April the 17th, and she died April the 19th, just 2 days before. All right, so with that all being said, hold on. With that all being said, there was no cause of death determined. Now, some people say that she drowned, but if she drowned, the cause of death would have absolutely been determined, right? Because surely there would have been water in her lungs or some form or sign showing that she drowned in the bathtub. And this is what some people say, she got frightened to death and had a heart attack. Well, you can categorize or you can determine that someone died from cardiac arrest. There was no cause of death, people. That's what makes this even more nefarious and more, questionable, right? As it pertains to something perhaps paranormal, shall I say. Now, the person who did the reading on her, in fact, said that she actually summoned Baron Samedi. Even if that's the case, Baron Samedi is a Haitian voodoo deity. Okay, that is not her culture. Now, I saw a young man who posted a video on TikTok about this when it happened back in April, and he was saying that, it's crazy for people to be saying that she died because she was a white person practicing voodoo and this, that, and the third. And he said that that would mean that the deities are racist. But then he contradicted himself because he also said in the next breath that some of the Haitian voodoo deities won't even show up unless you have a picture of a white deity or white person on the altar. So how does that make sense? He says they don't care about race, but then he says some of them won't show up unless you have a white person on the altar. Clearly, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And this was a Black person, okay? I don't think he identifies as Black because he was a Black immigrant. And as we know, some of them don't categorize themselves as being Black, like us foundational Black Americans, okay? So with that all being said, he clearly didn't know what he was talking about. Because here's the thing. What you don't do is mix different occult-like practices, whatever you want to call them. Yes, he was Cape and melanated brown. Absolutely, okay? You don't want to mix different occult-like practices. You also don't want to dabble in things of which you don't know anything about because you don't know the consequences. And when you summon spirits, you don't know if the spirit you're in fact trying to summon is going to show up. That's what you don't know. And also, as I said, demons can be summoned. Okay, you don't know when you're doing these things, you have no knowledge of it. You don't know the history of it. You have not studied it, and you actually have no business studying it. That's one thing. Okay, Because to be honest, the Helmets crew, they should not be entertaining and engaging in voodoo. Voodoo comes from Black people. Okay, they have a history of Wiccan. That's what they should be engaging in. You cannot cross the barriers, and sometimes it's to your detriment. Now, though we don't know for a fact that she died due to her summoning Papa Legba, we do know that it is quite a coincidence, at least, that she summoned Papa Legba on April the 17th, and then on April the 19th, she was found dead in her tub with no cause of death mentioned, which means that obviously they didn't know why she died. There was no explanation for it, okay? And now, with that all being said, let's talk about Baron Samedi, okay? Baron Samedi is a Haitian voodoo, right? A Haitian voodoo deity, not to be confused with Papa Gidi, the good counterpart, or Papa Legba. Now, Baron Samedi is one of the Loa, spirit of the dead. He is the Loa of resurrection and is often called upon for healing by those near or approaching death, and is the only one who can accept an individual into the realm of the dead, okay? He is usually depicted with a top hat, black tailcoat, dark glasses, and cotton plugs in his nostrils, as if to resemble a corpse dressed and prepared for burial in the Haitian style. Now, he has a white, frequently skull-like face, or actually has a skull for a face. Samedi spends most of his time in the invisible realm of voodoo spirits, okay? They say that his wife is Loa, a Loa named Mammon Brigitte. Now, so with this all being said, he is venerated in Haitian voodoo, Louisiana voodoo, and folk Catholicism, okay? With that all being said, it doesn't have anything to do with Wiccan, being a witch, conducting witchcraft and spells casting and all of those things has nothing to do with that. And the main thing that we should understand and realize is you should not mess with other races and ethnicities, deities. That's what you should not do. You should not mess with other races' ancestors. Do you know how crazy that is? Now, I want you to picture one of us, a Black person, trying to summon the spirit of a Klansman that passed on into the crossroads. Do you know how that would turn out? I can imagine not good, okay? So please make it make sense. Now, I'm going to play a video for you all where this woman who also says that she's a witch, what she has to say about this. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. Hold on, people. Okay, trying to make sure I pull up the right thing. Okay, here we go.
I'm ready for the gatekeeper comments, so here we go. Let me tell you right now, there is a lot of misinformation on this app. And y'all made me think I was losing my mind. So I went back to my research. I went back to my books, some of them older than most of you on this app. And I went and consulted other elder witches and asked the new witches that were coming into my DMs where they're hearing these things about the gods and goddesses claiming them. And this is what I found out. It's all coming from this app because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And this is what I found when I went back to my research. The god and goddess actually didn't have a name. And if you chose to work with a particular pantheon, you set up a respectful altar and you maintained that respect. They weren't helping you pick out your fucking Starbucks order. They weren't helping you pick out a scrunchie. If you called them in for a ritual, you did it with respect, and then you dismissed them with respect. If something's claiming you, it's probably not something you want to work with. Y'all are doing harm, and I'm hearing about it in my DMs.
Okay, so you all heard that. Clearly, she went in. Okay, so she said people are giving out bad information on the app. They call it witch talk. The people on TikTok who are talking about these things. And one thing that she said, much love to the queen. Thank you, William. Thank you. Peace, love, and blessings. So I had a white co-worker that sat next to me and was a Wiccan high priest. I asked to be moved. Okay, Queen Conscious, I don't blame you. But so listen to this. Basically, what she was saying in a nutshell is that people are out here doing things they have no business doing, and people are teaching them these things via this app on TikTok or whatever, the app TikTok, telling them and giving them wrong information. Okay, okay, sis, you in New Orleans and I'm in Shreveport, but when I was in the military, people sweared up and down that I was some kind of voodoo princess. I bet they did. But so with that all being said, so listen, here is the thing. She basically was saying they're doing harm because they're telling people that it's okay to do these things. And like she said, when you summon these deities, you summon them with respect and you dismiss them with respect. Now, it is disrespectful for you to be calling on the ancestors of a people that you do not belong to. It is disrespectful for you to especially be calling on these deities that you have no business engaging with and trying to use them or get them or summon them for the sole purpose of causing harm to a person who is of their own culture. Okay? That is also crazy. So I love you and all you do. Thanks so much for giving us knowledge and sharing what you share with us. Thank you. Thank you, Chris King World. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Millie says, exactly. Yes, exactly. You should not be dabbling in things that you have no business dabbling in and not out here trying to get other people's ancestors to do your dirty work because you're mad with your girlfriend, who's Black, by the way. How do you think that's going to turn out? Okay? Rain Love says, I only dabble with the Most High. Absolutely. Okay? Bangani says, exactly, Queen. Okay? Yes. Now, see, here's what it is. Like someone said, they watched American Horror Story and thought that was the way to do it. Nope. Absolutely. This is what they thought. She obviously watched American Horror Story and thought that it's okay. It's not okay. You can't do these things. You shouldn't do these things. It can bring you all sorts of bad luck. You can even end up dead like Caitlyn Restin. And now she's truly resting. Okay? No pun intended. Actually, it is pun intended. That's her last name, Restin. So with that all being said, you need to stay away from things that you don't know nothing about. Stop dabbling in the occult if you don't know anything about occult practices. And if you're going to do voodoo, then you had better be someone who knows what you're doing, what you're messing with, okay? Especially if you're trying to do something nefarious. Because like I said, you can take something meant for good and use it for something bad and nefarious and egregious. This is what you can do. You know, that's why they have the symbol of yin and yang. It shows that with the yin and yang sign, it simply means there's something good and even in bad things, and there's something bad and even in good things. You can find something if you look. With that all being said, everything is about intentions of the person. Now, there are people who use voodoo or voodoo. There are people who use that to heal people. Okay? Now, a Vietnamese friend of mine told me a few years ago that when he was 8 years old, he said he was bitten by a dog and he had rabies. Now, instead of getting all those shots, he simply said that his mother took him to a voodoo priestess, and they put a rock, a black rock like a piece of coal. They had it sitting in some type of some type of liquid like alcohol or something, and they took that out of the alcohol, placed it on the bite on his leg, on the wound, and they held it there for a period of minutes, and it sucked all of the poison out of him. He never had to get those rabies shots. He was completely healed. So they can use it for good things. But if you're a wicked person who engages in devilish things, then that person more likely than not will be trying to use voodoo for something wicked. And when you do wicked things, what you have to remember is there's consequences for doing wicked things. You see, when you put something out into the universe is going to send it back. And why is that? I'm glad you asked. Because energy is contagious. So if you're putting out negative energy, don't expect to get positive results, because negative energy will come right back to you. So if you're trying to kill someone by using voodoo, witchcraft, or whatever, okay, well, you may end up dead yourself or someone whom you love, someone close to you. These are the things that happen. Now, although we don't know exactly why Caitlyn died, as I said, there was no cause of death determined. It seems to me that maybe something that she was doing when she called herself summoning a Haitian voodoo deity is what likely got her killed, in my opinion. And so with that all being said, let this be a cautionary tale for anyone who is thinking about using other people's culture, who is thinking about especially using it to do something wicked and nefarious to a person of that culture. Okay? That's what you should not be doing. All right? Let me get this chat back started. Many fellow massage therapists practice wicked, so I keep to myself in practice. Okay? What they call magic is high science. The devil has many tricks. Unfortunately, when you shake hands with him, he will never honor his part of the bargain. Your soul is precious and belongs to the Most High. Absolutely, author. I absolutely agree. And this is the thing. You're absolutely right. The devil has many faces, many disguises, and comes in many forms. So therefore, when you are trying to summon deities, you don't know what you're going to get. And that's just the thing, especially when you're someone who doesn't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're going to get because there are malevolent entities who will masquerade as something other than what they are. There are different types of energy that you, in fact, can harness when you're participating in these rituals. Okay, when you're summoning things and casting spells and engaging in seances and all of those type things and playing Ouija boards, you can cause something upon yourself that will stick with you until the rest of your life. Okay, plaguing you and oppressing you and making all types of wicked and nefarious things happen to you. You could be plagued with bad luck for your entire life from just playing and dabbling in these things. So you should not be doing it unless you actually know what you're doing. Isaiah 45:7, I form light and create darkness. I make peace and evil. I do all things. That's right. I am the Lord God and I create good and evil. I do all things. Okay? So this is what people need to realize. Or what's already present in your house and give it power playing around. Yes, absolutely. You could already have malevolent spirits in your presence, not even know it. And then you trying to tap into these other things can just further exasperate the wicked things that they're already plotting to do. And let's not forget that I told you numerous of times, even negative energy that you have in your heart, in your being, you can harness that energy so hard and so strongly that it manifests in a physical form that we call poltergeist. Okay? And they can cause nefarious things to happen. All right? You can summon something that will absolutely kill you on sight just from looking at it, just from it being in your presence. These things can happen. You can also cause yourself to be demonically possessed. Okay? Demon possessed by calling on these entities, because you don't know what you're doing sometimes. All right? So I would tell everyone to be careful when you want to dabble in these things, and especially if these are things that have no business being, of you dabbling in them when you're not one of the people from the culture of which these things came. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Empress in your home might be too. Okay. Real talk, says broken silence. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I would like to thank you all for tuning in. But let this serve as a cautionary tale, people, about dabbling into occult-like things. All right? You should not be dealing with these things unless you have good intentions. Now, if somebody's trying to heal someone, someone's trying to, help someone in some way or whatever, if you're trying to make your life better, improve your life, that's one thing. Or let's not forget about the Haitians. During the Haitian Revolution of 1804, it was said that they used voodoo to defeat the enemies. Okay? Because remember, they were outgunned and outmanned, and they had victory over the British and the French. Okay? That is one of the reasons that the country of Haiti and the people of Haiti are hated so much by those in the divided snakes. That is why you see Haiti is such a poor country. Because many people hate them for the simple fact that they gained their freedom and independence and they fought back for their liberation. All right. And they didn't let the coons and sambos who walk on tiptoes stop them. In fact, they got rid of them first. That was their whole thing. They said they had to get rid of the collaborators first. And that's who those were. All right. The ones who were helping the so-called wannabe white supremacists to enslave them and keep them oppressed. So that, in that case, they used voodoo for a good purpose. When you're out here trying to cast spells to do evil and wicked things to somebody, just because you're mad and all of those things, it can absolutely backfire on you. Because always remember, don't ever forget, the same energy you put out is the same energy that comes right back to you. Or shall I say right back to you. That all being said, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure that you join me in the morning at 9 a.m. on Authentic Black Goddess TV for your daily or for your morning wake-up call. And then again tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for your daily vitamin. I will also be going live tomorrow at 9 p.m., I believe. Yes, 9 p.m. on Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents The Root of All Evil. I will be talking about another nefarious act that people committed just for soul monetization, for revenue, and to catch a bag. So we'll be talking about that. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this night. Until next time, peace, love, and blessings, and I hope to see you all again soon.